I'm Amanda, and today the Vocalist magazine has the pleasure of sitting down with Fredy V. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So, take me back to your childhood. How did music come to become such a big part of your life?
Well, I was in a musical family. I really give it up to my brother, my older brother. He was, when I was 7 years old, he was like in high school having rehearsals at home, so there was always music in the house. My dad had a huge record collection because he came from Senegal to UCLA, and so he's really a huge music fan, and that manifested through my brother. So for my brother, all of his bandmates, all his friends, I was always in rehearsal spots. I was always in studios, and just being the little kid trying to get in. And then when my brother got his second bass, he gave me his first bass, and then that's when things kind of started.
And so that was your first instrument that got you kind of into music?
Yeah, it was pretty much, that was the first instrument. You know, I was always singing around the house, but to be able to kind of, you know, pick up an instrument and really get on it, that's what really propelled me to being able to do this.
Okay, great. And was it self-taught, or did you take any lessons?
Well, for the most part, it was self-taught. You know, my brother, who's like, he went off to college, he's a bit older than I am, so when he went off to college, he was just like, major, minor, go in peace, you know what I mean? So he did the education. I was around him, he was like, you heard everything you needed to hear, so have fun, discover, and have fun the instrument. And then I really give it up to my high school music director, James Irwin, and he really saw that I had a knack for it. So he took me to the side from choir rehearsals and jazz band rehearsals and taught me really how to read music and really take the time to kind of nurture the raw talent that I had. And basically I just kept working very hard to hang with everybody who went to school for music. You know?
Wow, that's amazing. So your music is described as soul and funk rocker with reggae sensibilities.
Indeed.
Which is an amazing description.
But
I want to know from you, how would you describe your own music? What is your music for you?
Well, I mean, to the root of it is basically it's rhythm and blues and rock and roll. Like those are the main elements. As if you look at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and whatnot, you see people from different genres, but that's pretty much the mentality and the culture that I come from. And I'm a disciple of some of those greats that, you know, I'm trying to basically not just pay homage and tribute to the traditions that they set forth, but to see how I can bring this into the future. But that's definitely the school that I come from. It's rhythm and blues and rock and roll.
Okay, great.
It's not like it's not a box that has come into like over the last 20 years where you have to be really electro or pop or whatever. But this is just, it's people music.
Yes, it certainly is. So would you say that you have any influences from which you derived your own sound? Yeah,
well, I mean, basically, you know, the greats, you know what I mean? The great band leaders of the, so meaning they take it back to as far back as Little Richard and Chuck Berry. I'm a huge fan of Sly and the Family Stone. Then you press fast forward to George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic, and then rest in peace to His Purple Majesty Prince, who is basically maybe the bar that I put in terms of being a songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, and performer, and then producer as well too. So all there, and then you fast forward into the 90s, you know, I was really a hip hop kid. Like first, I'll never forget the day that I put in a tape of Trap Called Quest. You know what I mean? Low in Theory, I heard that bass line, it was over from there, you know what I mean? Bob Marley obviously is a huge one, and then Outkast had a very huge influence on me. Andre 3000, Janelle Monáe, you know, those type of artists that are really kind of like, you know, pushing the envelope, breaking a barrier, and not being defined by just, you know, just this one-dimensional direction.
And do you think it's important to kind of push the boundaries when you're in the music industry? Yeah,
I think it definitely is, and just to not stay complacent, to search for something new. And me, the line that I always teeter is, you know, being a traditionalist and staying true. You know, I'm a funk soldier. I'm from that army of funk and whatnot, but to see where we can take the music as well too. So it's riding that fine line of paying homage and tradition and really bringing it to a future with a new sound as well too. You know?
Great. So before delving into your solo project, you worked with a multitude of artists. Can you tell me a bit about those experiences and some of those past projects that you've worked on?
Yeah, I mean, some of the artists that I've worked on, I think recently something that really, really opened my eyes is working with an amazing guitar player named Cecile Dukenge. She gave me a call and she was just like, I need a bass player and a singer. And I was like, are you sure you have the right number? You know, because she's like one of the great virtuoso guitar players in North America. So playing bass and singing for her project and recording on her album that's about to be released in a couple of weeks was incredible. And if we rewind back in the day, one of the most amazing experiences that I had is working with a neo soul UK guru named Omar.
Yes.
So Omar, like from the early 90s, he was really the person that set the neo soul scene in London and in England. And when he came over here, I was able to be his music director. I put his band together. I promoted his show. I pretty much did everything. And just that experience alone really just helped me understand the game in many aspects. So I was his backup vocalist, and I'll never forget the day that we were on stage, and then, you know, he looked at me for the second verse of Be Thankful, which is sang by Erykah Badu, and he was just like, you sing it. And I was like, okay. So I did it, and that was really one of the most amazing experiences that I ever had. And yeah, basically from that, also working for TV and film as well too. That's a new world that I've gotten into as well, and that's been very good. And a musical theater background, I did a lot of that when I was in high school and stuff. So yeah, a lot of experiences playing for a lot of different people.
Yeah, a great mix, it seems.
Yeah, indeed, yeah, for sure. Very that's diverse amazing. And very, very blessed for those experiences.
Okay, so you seem to have some insight into different music scenes. Mm-hmm. You mentioned the UK. Mm-hmm. What would you say the music scene in Montreal is like? How does it compare?
Well, I think the music scene in Montreal is very eclectic. The fact that Montreal is located and is considered kind of like a bridge between North America and Europe.
Yes.
So because it's super, you have a lot of people that are coming in, a lot of Montreal transplants that are coming in here, and some of the artists that are influenced by whether it's Franco-European culture, American culture. It is an amazing kitchen with a lot of ingredients, and that I think that if I was in any other city, I would not have had as rich of a musical cultural experience as I've had in Montreal. Be it through the West African scene that's going on, be it through the alternative rock scene that is happening, electronic music that is happening, and definitely the R&B and funk that we're trying to push. There's not as much of a light that's shined on that. Okay. But it's being pushed forward.
Why do you think that is?
Numbers. I think it's just a numbers game in terms of what the target of hip hop, R&B, and funk listeners are here. They're mainly located between Ontario and Quebec, and they're also out. But we're just pretty much outnumbered of the type of people that really are savants and lovers of that type of music. So it's very hard for the industry to kind of be supported, and anytime you see the success that comes out is people that have actually been able to export and then bring things back home and then trying to build the scene from there.
See, yes. Yeah. Okay, and so would you say then that in Montreal music is kind of more competitive, or is it more that you guys work together?
Well, I'd say it's definitely less competitive. Okay. It is less competitive. You go to other cities in the world, and when I get to other cities, I'm kind of like, oh wow, these guys are cutthroat. You know what I mean? They're really going at it on all different types of levels. So there's a fact that Montreal is a bit more easygoing in that aspect, but that also lends to making connections and making human connections with people, and that really just that feeds the artist.
That's wonderful. Okay, great. So talk to me about performing. What is it like to be on stage?
That's my life, man. That's what I do. There's nothing else that makes me happier in the world. Okay. It's something you kind of respect. I don't know if you ever saw the Apollo Theater. Whenever there were performances, like whether it be James Brown or Amateur Night at the Apollo or whatnot, they would have the trunk of a tree right before the stage. You step on stage, and people would rub their hands on the tree kind of for good luck before they would step on. And so I try to take that mentality that every time I step on a stage, I respect it so much, because as soon as I set my foot on there, it's beyond me. You know what I mean? You just try and stay as open and receptive to the crowd, to the audience, to the moment, and being present, and kind of let that inspiration flow through you, and make sure that you are a connector between the audience and the incredible musicians that are making it happen. You are the vessel, you are the messenger, you are the person that delivers the message, and you try and stay humble with it, but at the same time, it's just like you let the spirit take you over. So, and just give it everything that you got. And that's what I do all the time.
Wow, beautifully said. Thanks. So would you say that your performances are more raw than they are rehearsed? How do you balance, having kind of something that goes in sync with maintaining like a very natural self on stage?
Yeah, it's a blend of both, because I have to say I try to be a perfectionist when I rehearse with them. You know, I'm very, like I said, from that old school mentality of, you know, James Brown and George Clinton and whatnot, and just to be prepared. Okay. And to really respect the audience and come and really work very hard before you get onto that stage. And that's definitely something that I do. But as soon as you get onto that moment, it's like, you know that you've done all the work, and now that is not the time to work. That is the time to perform. That is the time to live. That is the time to breathe what you've actually been working on so much. So it's a blend of both. So say, you know, I'm doing, you know, a huge funk song or R&B song or whatnot, and the band is so tight and is so prepared and we're ready for this moment that, hey, say somebody in the crowd says something and it goes a different direction, all I have to do is give my guys a sign and whatnot, and we'll extend the song. So it's about being connected and being present in the moment so that, you know, you're ready for no matter what comes your direction. So it also gives that humanity, the rawness, the openness about it, is instead of just being a robot just doing the same thing over and over and over again. But when you prepare very well, you're ready for the wind to blow any direction when it comes to perform. You know? Wow.
So tell me a bit about your story. How did you come to become a solo act? What made you decide that you wanted to pursue music as a career? As a career,
well, there are many things I could say as interest as a career. I think when I really decided, it was when I was 15, 16 years old. You know, I was just like, okay, nothing makes me happier. This is what I want to do. I want to be a curator of the culture, because it's so much more than just, you know, picking up an instrument and playing. It's what it represents to be able to actually affect change, power. So you know, listening to Bob Marley lyrics and things like that, and seeing the effect that he had. That's when I was 15 and 16. I really pretty much decided that this is something I want to do. But being in a musical family, it made it a little easier.
Okay. Sure. Okay. So definitely it was a passion on the inside.
Yeah, it's a passion on the inside, and you know, it's what I do. It's the thing that I do best. It's you know what I mean. It's sometimes I find that, you know, I didn't choose music. Music chose me. You know, in that way. So it's just to stay open to that inspiration and just, you know, pray that I can really live this moment as long as possible.
And do you find that your inspiration comes more so from personal experiences or perhaps world events? Where does your inspiration come from?
Yeah, I can say that personal experiences and relationships. I'm a very outgoing guy. I'm a very community-oriented guy, and I think I'm very blessed to have a lot of people that are in my corner. You know, I'm part of Kalmunity Vibe Collective and all that, which is a huge collective of artists and whatnot. So I really value relationships a lot, and on all levels. And all the peoples from different cultures, and I've been on like 4 different continents, you know, in my life. So all those different types of people that have really just molded me into the person that I am, you know what I mean? And just giving each other that energy and that knowledge and whatnot, and just taking it in and absorbing it and trying to be an accumulation of all the people all the souls that I've ever met in my life, because I love people. Like, I'm a people person.
Okay. That's amazing. Yeah. So would you say that being in the spotlight, you face any type of pressure to maintain a certain image or a certain reputation? Because oftentimes we hear of artists, you know, that are pushed in a certain direction in order to make sales or to appeal to the mass public. How do you feel about all of that?
I think that if I speak on that right now, it could be a bit premature. Okay. Because I'm not sure if I'm in a position where necessarily I have been forced by somebody or have forced myself necessarily to go in direction, because, you know, humbly, my spotlight has just begun. I just got on the radar in terms of, I've been around, but in terms of as a solo artist, like, I'm just getting on the radar. But I try to position myself in a way where I'm not compromising myself in the direction that I'm going, so that it will, the veracity, the sincerity, or how genuine my image is, what I'm trying to portray, is not far off from the person that I am. Okay. Yes, I'm an artist. I have to amplify that. You're on a stage, you do photo shoots, you're doing all this type of things, so you have to portray something. But I try and make it as genuine and as sincere as possible, because I think that no matter what, even a very young child can kind of look at an artist and be like, I don't know, they're kind of faking it. There's something not sincere, there's something not genuine, and so I think at the end of the day, it's to be as genuine as possible.
Okay, that's great. So some aspiring musicians may be tuning in. Do you have any advice for them? Because this is a competitive field, it takes passion. What's your top advice?
Don't take no shortcuts, and work on your craft. As much as possible. I think it's just to really just be a worker. I think now in 2016 there's a lot of ways where people can really feel that, okay, well, if I go this direction I'll be thrusted here, and if I go this direction I'll be thrusted here overnight and whatnot. But there's nothing like really working at your craft and finding your own voice and your own sound. Be you and be the best you that you can be. Like, being you is cool, but work at it. You know what I mean? Work at it. Find yourself, find your voice, and just know how you can communicate something special to people. It's just a sincere, which is beyond just your skills and your technique. Tap into that special moment as much as possible, but get your technique on as well too.
Okay, that's great advice. Yeah. So, Fredy V in 2 years, what would you have liked to have accomplished?
Fredy V in 2 years, world tour.
Okay.
Just so I can perform in every single place possible.
Okay.
That's really
Any particular locations that pique your interest?
The Asian market.
Yes.
Like, I've done South America, North America, Africa, and Europe, and I think I'm dying to get to Asia.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? And just to see, even right now with my first single, Ain't Going Nowhere, there's a huge funk scene in Japan. Like, yes, you know what I mean? Like, I'm so curious to get to Japan and to Tokyo, and it really, because it's, I think, the furthest culture, because, you know, being in Montreal, you know, speaking English, French, I was in the States, so speaking Spanish over there, and all those cultures, it's you know, the languages, but I want to get somewhere where it's like, I need a dictionary to communicate to people out, that experience of really making a lot of efforts to communicate with people on the other side of the world. You know? Okay,
so traveling with your music.
Traveling with my music, that's pretty much, that's all I can ask for.
Okay, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for this. It's really been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
I wish you the best of luck in all of your endeavors.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you.